I want to be able to execute effortlessly as a dad. I want to be able to execute effortlessly as a husband. I want to be able to execute effortlessly. That's really hard to say as a business owner, right? As an entrepreneur, as a marketer, as someone who helps people sell stuff. I want to be able to execute effortlessly at that. Everything. So what does it look like to prepare myself for that? What does the road to mastery look like? What's up, y'all? My name is Chris Creed. Welcome to the Storywell Marketing Podcast. It won't be long before I change the title of this show. I'm going to keep this same feed and keep all the back catalog of all the interviews and everything. Nothing is changing. None of that's going away yet. It's going to stay on the feed. But I'm going to change the name of the show. And the new name of the show, I will tell you in a little bit. But it's the reason I'm doing it is because I am continuing to document my journey, which is what this show's always been about. But my journey is shifting, it's changing, and it is evolving as I continue to grow and become, a different human every single day. One of the things that I've noticed is that there are two constants. One is my inability to control the fact that things are changing all the time. And the other constant is that I have a deep desire to get better. I think that's both of those things are true for most humans. And so what I wanted to do is create a space where we can have conversations about what it looks like to get better. Now, this is not becoming a wellness or a health podcast, right? But it is becoming a show about what it looks like to get better. And in a lot of ways, that's what the show's always been about, but it's just been about me documenting my process. But what I'm going to do now is bring people to you who I believe can provide tools for that. And we're going to talk about tools that I'm using to get better, not just physically, by the way, not just mentally, but businessly as well, right? Like, what are the things that I am choosing to get better at? And before I go on, I'm going to tell you a story. So I went to a concert a few weeks ago now, a band called Nickel Creek. You may have heard of them. You may have not heard of them. That's totally cool. But in the band Nickel Creek, all of them are incredibly talented. But there was one specific moment in the concert that really stood out in my mind, and that was when they were playing this song, super simple folk song. Half of the band gathers together, huddles up in the back, and they're keeping this like simple rhythm, right? And then Chris Thile, who is a phenomenal virtuoso freaking mandolin player, considered by many to be one of the best in the world, trots himself out to the front of the stage, and the lights are pointing in on him, and it's just him playing in a simple tune in the background, and he just goes nuts. He went nuts on the front of the stage, just going nuts. He's like in his own little world, creating shit, like playing with different themes, going crazy. And in that moment, I was witnessing mastery on display. But this thought that popped into my head in that moment was, everyone wants the stage, but no one wants the work. It just really rung true to me. But what I'm getting at with that, and really the point I want you to take away from that visual is that when someone achieves mastery, they can do things that are seemingly impossible to us, may not even make sense to us, but it truly is a result of them getting to a place where they can execute effortlessly, right? That's what it's about. And that's what I want for you. That's what I want for me. I want to be able to execute effortlessly as a dad. I want to be able to execute effortlessly as a husband. I want to be able to execute effortlessly. That's really hard to say. As a business owner, right? As an entrepreneur, as a marketer, as someone who helps people sell stuff. I want to be able to execute effortlessly at that. Everything. So what does it look like to prepare myself for that? What does the road to mastery look like? It looks like being committed to getting better. And there are two steps to that. The first step is to wake up and realize that you need to get better in order to get where you want to go. And the second step is to start getting better. So the name of the show, the new name for this show is going to be Wake Up and Get Better with Chris Creed. It's not that I'm going to help you get better. Hopefully there's something I share will be helpful, but I'm going to bring you experts in here that are going to share their path of what it looked like to get better. And not just that, they're also going to share their tools that are going to help you become a master at you, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, like we have to figure out what that looks like, man. You know, I don't know about you, but I have goals. I have a life that I want to grow into, right? I have things that I want for my family. I have goals that I want for my business. I have, you know, things that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but and haven't, you know, completely stepped into yet. I want those things. And I know without a doubt that, like, okay, if I want the stage, I have to do the work, right? If you want the stage, you have to do the work. If you want to be the person who can execute effortlessly, then you have to put in the work required to become that master, right? And so I think starting with the idea of waking up and getting better, making that a constant decision in your life, like every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to get better. That to me sounds like a pretty damn good plan, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. So I really appreciate you being here. I think this is going to be a fun trip. I have some really cool people lined up to come on and talk. And this is going to be a consistent thing. You know, like one of the, let me share something about the podcasting world for a second. As you guys all know who are listening to this, podcasting has, first of all, it's been around for a long time. I've been listening to podcasts since 2008, 2007. And podcasting has shifted a lot during that, but in a lot of ways, it's kind of the same. I still listen to podcasts that I listened to back then, right? So like it's not a new thing, but it also has shifted into something different. But one of the things that is absolutely true, that's absolutely been true from the beginning, is that if you want to actually do it, if you want to actually do a podcast, you need to be consistent. Well, funny story. I haven't been consistent on this show, as you guys know. If you're listening to this and you've listened for a long time, you probably heard me say over and over again, like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, whatever." Like, I'm saying that to say that, like, I recognize that this hasn't been a consistent thing, and it's one of the things that I'm committed to getting better at. So I'm committing to getting better at consistency of this show. Having said that, though, let me tell you something that you might not know about podcasts, because I really hope that you start a podcast, because it doesn't have to be freaking, you know, Joe Rogan, right? You don't have to have a show where like you're getting millions of downloads for it to be successful. I hope you guys know that. I'm not really going to get into that right now, but I will tell you this statistic. This show that you're listening to right now is in the top 10% of podcasts on the planet. It is not, it is not like, by the way, so top 10% of podcasts on the planet. What that means is there are over, I think, 3 million podcasts. So in the top 10% of those, right? So that's wild. Do you know why that is though? It's because I have recorded so many episodes and people listen to those episodes every day. And it hasn't been that many episodes. I think this is like 75 maybe, but people listen to those episodes every day. So imagine what it could become if it was consistent. And I wanted to, this is what this episode is going to be about for you guys, is consistency. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I need to get better at it. And everything that I bring on this show, I want you to know and hear that the only reason I'm talking about it is because I want to get better at it, right? I have encountered a lot of people over the years in this marketing, business space, coaching, whatever. I've encountered a lot of people who pretend like they have it all together, right? And then you see like certain parts where you're like, ooh, I think you're missing that, like huge blind spots, right? That's not what I'm going to pretend to be here for you guys. Like I'm going to tell you the truth. I do not have it all together. I am trying my best to get it together, right? And to get better at all the things. And all I can do is wake up and get better and commit to staying there, right? Commit to being consistent. And I think that might just be the trick to everything. I think it might just be the trick to everything. So that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to eradicate the words "trying" from my vocabulary, because I say it all the time. Like, oh, I'm trying to do such and such. I'm trying to do such. Well, like, you're either doing it or you're not doing it. That's the truth, right? So I am committing to being consistent with this freaking show. And I would encourage you, like whatever you are trying to do, please stop trying to do it and just commit to being consistent. I'm doing that with everything right now, and it's freaking hard. It's freaking hard to know everything you need to be better at and be able to like literally write it. And this is what I did. I literally wrote down everything I needed to be better at. And then I committed to being consistent at those things. And then I proceeded to not, because it's freaking hard, because you're staring at a beast basically, right? And you have to conquer that. But of course it's scary, right? So I don't want to embark on that because it's going to be painful. It's not easy to commit to your health. It's not easy to commit to showing up on a show like this or in your business. It's not easy to continually show up in your marriage or in your relationships or in your fitness goals. It's not easy to show up in all of those things all at once, all the time. It's not easy, but that is the only way to move forward. And of course, you're going to have ebbs and flows in those things, but overall, you have to consistently be getting better, or else you will passively get worse. That's what I've come to realize, and I have mountains of evidence to prove that truth, right? But if you, I think it's important to just be consistent. If you can keep that at the front of your mind with everything that you're doing right now, just be consistent, just one foot in front of the other. So a couple of years ago, Jen and I, we climbed a 14er. We didn't finish it. That's another story for another time. We didn't finish it, but we got to the very top, and we were very close. But I remember that at the end, it was so painful to walk. It was so painful to hike at the end, like coming down the mountain. But you had to come down. Like I had no choice. I have to come down. But it was so painful. My legs were killing me. Everything was burning. I was hungry. I was tired. I was sweaty. I was sunburnt. It was awful. And I just remember in that moment thinking, like there was so much power in this realization, okay? All I have to do is continue to put one foot in front of the other and one foot in front of the other. Slowly, 3 feet at a time here, I am going to make it back to my car. And there's a sandwich there, right? And it's going to be great. I'm going to go home and take a shower. That's what consistency looks like. It looks like that breakthrough in your mind. When you get to the place where you're like, this sucks, I can't do it anymore. Okay, keep doing that because you just need to put one foot in front of the other because you just need to get a little bit better today. That's what we're looking for. And so it's hard to believe, it's hard to swallow that that's the answer, but it truly is the answer for everything. Consistently moving forward. One of the things that I've noticed in social media lately that I've noticed a few people like just taking off, gaining a lot of followers really fast or whatever. And they're like people I know. But consistently what happens if you go and look at what was happening that made that happen? Well, maybe a couple of posts took off and went viral, but what really happened was there was a string of consistency where they were doing something the same way over and over again. They were starting a series. They were like intentionally being the same so that they could get better, right? They were getting better at doing this one format, and it worked. And I think there's no secret there. And you can say, well, like, oh no, well, this is just a good idea they had. Yeah, but I'm going to argue with that good idea came from the consistency, right? It came from the consistency. I think that's why we have such inspired ideas sometimes when we're just doing normal mundane things like taking a shower or like brushing your teeth or driving even. Like you're doing things where your brain is on autopilot, right? Then your mind sort of cooks up these ideas and you're like, oh, like you have these massive realizations. I think the same thing can happen with business and in life and relationships, everything. That's how you get better. That's where that inspiration can come from because of the consistency, right? And it's because we are committing to a path and we're going to stay on that path. Things might start to feel mundane. They might start to feel like a little boring. That's okay. You're training your brain to make this the new normal, and then it will up level. Like literally something new will come to your mind. And that's the power of it. And if not, and I've experienced this, man, when like things are just like going around and like just going down the same path I've always been going down, but like not actually doing anything to get better. Dude, I will get so dry. Like my creativity will dry up. The interactions I'm having with people are just kind of nah, you know, and I will start to get depressed. And it's because of a lack of momentum. But momentum comes from consistency. I was just talking to my son about this the other day. There's this massive slide, and it's like literally 5 stories tall. And when you climb up it, and you get to the very top, it's like, this is absolutely terrifying. And you'll watch kid after kid go down and then just shoot out the end of it, like 5 feet. Not exaggerating, like 5 feet out of the slide. Just shoots them out, right? And unless they slow themselves down inside, right? But if you just let the slide take you, it'll just shoot you right out. And I was talking to my son about momentum. I was talking about how like, hey, objects in motion tend to stay in motion, right? You see like it shot you down and you just keep on going, right? Even though there's nothing else to propel you, that you're already in motion, so you're more likely to go forward. That's what consistency will do. It puts you into momentum. And that momentum cycle is what inspires your brain with the mundane continuous tasks that you're doing. Like right now, I'm eating turkey, like turkey, ground up turkey and rice for my meals. It's boring. It's awful. But I know that over time, that consistency and that sameness, because it's making me better, is going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And it's weird. And I'm trying to like put my hand on my finger on like what natural law that is, because it has to be something that is absolute. It has to be something that's absolutely true, because you can see it on display everywhere. And it probably, as you're hearing this, you may even know like exactly what it is I'm talking about. I don't know, but that's the trick. And in a lot of ways, man, I wish it wasn't that way. I wish we could just, hang out and chill. And in some ways you can, but in other ways, like not so much. Like you have to be pursuing something. You have to be getting better. And I think as entrepreneurs, we feel this more acutely than most, right? But I think all humans feel this, but I think we feel it more acutely than most when we fall into a patch of a lack of momentum. We start to die a little inside, and it's dangerous. It's a dangerous path. And I want to help people through that. I know a lot of people who have started businesses and got burned out, and they just didn't, they weren't on a path of getting better. They weren't on a path that was going somewhere, and they lost that momentum, and they just, kind of fizzled out. And I don't want that. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my son. I don't want that for my family. And I don't want that for your family, So that's why the show exists. It's a show selfishly to bring people into my life, to give me myself insight. It's selfishly, for me to be able to show up and have an excuse to show up and be consistent. But more so than that, like the bigger thing that I see and I feel is that I know that I'm not alone in this. I know that I cannot be alone in that feeling of like lack of momentum drags me down. I cannot be alone in that. And so my hope is that by me showing up and doing it, and then me telling you about what I'm doing to stay consistent, is going to force me to be consistent, and it's going to inspire you to get better and to find the things that are going to make you get better. So that's what this all is. So I'm stoked that you're here. It's going to be fun. Yeah, that's it. I love you guys. I love you guys. Podcasting to me has always been a medium where like you can easily show up. Like anyone can do this, right? And I am not saying that you have to do a podcast, but I am saying that I hope that you find something that will help you get excited about waking up and making something. Because when that momentum goes, I see so many people's spirits go, and I don't want that for you. And even just sitting down intentionally to record this today as the first mark of this Wake Up, Get Better podcast, I feel so inspired. I'm excited. I'm excited to bring this to y'all. Like, this is going to be fun. There's so much more that's going to come out of this that I haven't even talked about yet. And I'm just so pumped about it. And I want that for you too. I want you to find something that's going to make you want to get up and make something every day. And be consistent with that. So, all right. Until next time, y'all, my name's Chris Creed. This is the Wake Up and Get Better podcast. I'll talk to you soon.
Slow down, there's nothing to get you